Guys, it's once again time to jump back in our time machines. In the past, I covered the best of 1986 and 87, and then I jumped ahead to 90 because that's kind of a fun year. Well, now it's time to fill in the gaps, 88 and 89. We're going back to talk about my five top movies of 1988 and some honorable mentions. So go ahead and hit that music. So 1988 was a pretty good year to me for cinema. It wasn't quite as big as 87, and I don't think it was near as big as 1989. There's some huge movies there, but there are some really good movies in this year. And so we're going to get into it with my number five, and that is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. This to me, Halloween 3 is kind of its own thing. This to me is the third best, Michael Myers Halloween movie, after the original and the second one, and they've not made anything to even come close to this one. So this one to me is kind of a classic, even though most people wouldn't think of it as that. There's some really good characters in this movie, with Jamie and Rachel. The only thing I don't like about it is the mask, and that's not the mask. I believe that's the mask from Halloween 2 on the cover, but the mask in this movie is just awful. It makes him look like some kind of game show host. Tell him what's behind door number 3, wink. Just it's terrible, but the rest of the movie is really good. I like the way it was lit. Great to have Donald Pleasance back. Great to have all those characters back. But that's why Halloween 4 is my number 5. Coming in at number 4 on my list of Drew's best movies of 1988 is a movie, oddly enough, as much as I like the slasher genre, I didn't see until last year all the way through, and that is Child's Play, the original. Going into this movie, I thought it was just this dumb slasher thing, with a doll running around terrorizing people. But no, there's some great parental issues in this movie, and this kid, nobody believes this is going on. There's some occultish things. I need to give it another watch because, like I said, I've just seen it the one time, but I could tell it was so good in that one watch that I could tell, it's better than a lot of these other movies I've got on this list. So I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than I was just superly impressed and kind of down on myself for not seeing Child's Play sooner in my life, but it had to be here. I was going to put it a little bit higher, but there's some movies on this list I like just a little bit more. So Child's Play at number 4, and we're moving on. So going into number 3, there's a couple movies on this list that I actually own, but I'm not a big keeper of cases anymore. So I've got binders full of like action and horror movies, and so I've just got these DVDs to show you. So coming in at number 3 is They Live, starring Rowdy Roddy Piper, directed by John Carpenter. This movie is spectacular. Just absolutely adore They Live. Actually got to see this in the theater. I'll put my ticket stubs up here for you guys. Saw it at the Palace in Springfield, Missouri. I remember I was actually in this contest, this trivia contest one night, and I was the runner-up. I actually lost the very last question, and the winner got to pick their movie, and they picked this movie, so really I won either way. But Roddy Piper, he really hadn't starred in anything yet. I think he had done Body Slam at this point, was really good, did a great job of acting for the most part. That scene where they're trying to put the contacts in looks just hokey and goofy, but this movie is really good. I wanted to put it at number 2, but I think that last act is really rushed. They do so much building through the first 2 acts. And then, all that big explosive ending at the end happens, and it just feels like they ran out of money or time or something. But it doesn't take away too much from my enjoyment of this movie. I really do love They Live, and it's one of those I break out a couple times a year. John Carpenter was on to something here, because this movie debuted at number 1 at the box office, and it was, what, a $5 million gainer, and then it was gone the next week. So, yeah, somebody didn't like it. This movie was actually the first movie I ever reviewed on this channel. So if you want to see, me learning how to talk to the camera, go watch that. It should be the very first one. I'm thinking about reshooting that one of these times. So going on to the top 2, I had to throw this in the list. I wasn't sure where it was going to go in the beginning, but it's number 2 because I could watch this movie any day of the week and enjoy it, and that is Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme. A lot of people would say this is Van Damme's best movie. I don't know that it's his best movie. I do think it's one of his most entertaining movies. I really like his character. from what I understand, Frank Dukes was kind of a jerk and, and a liar, and nobody really liked him. But Van Damme actually, makes you like that character. I like the different styles they're fighting there, and the whole subplot about him going AWOL and the feds coming after him. Trying to find this underground fight tournament. There are so many classic moments in this movie. Whether you've got him fighting with Bolo Young there in the finals, and he gets blinded and can't see. He's yelling into the nothingness. It's pretty funny to watch. But if you need an introduction to Jean-Claude Van Damme, there are very few places you could go that are higher than Bloodsport. Maybe Hard Target, maybe Time Cop. I don't know. A lot of people will probably disagree with me on that, but I really like those movies. Bloodsport's my number two, and I've loved it since I was a child as well. So before I get to my number one, guys, I wanted to talk about my honorable mentions, but there are actually a few movies I still need to see from this year, and I wanted to run those down for you. Dead Ringers by David Cronenberg. I hear really good things about. I need to watch it. Alien Nation with James Caan. You would have thought, as much as I like sci-fi and action, I would have seen Alien Nation by now. Um, it's just one of those that's slipped past my radar, and so next time I go to Entertain Mart, I'm going to have to look for that one, see if they have it. I'd like to review that for you guys. And the other one that I need to see so I can talk about it is Midnight Run. It's this comedy with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. It looks really funny. I've just never gotten around to seeing it. And if you guys have seen those in the comments, let me know what you think about them. But when I'm talking about honorable mentions, the first one that comes to mind has to be Bull Durham. Crash Davis and Nuke LaLoosh, breathing through his eyes like a lava lizard. And what does he know? He's not the one with the quadraphonic blah punk. That movie's so quotable. I like it. This movie here, I wanted to put on the list. I've shown this a couple times. It's Shakedown with Peter Weller and Sam Elliott. This is a great underrated movie. One of the most underrated movies of the late 80s. If you've not seen this, give it a shot. It's really good. I want to say buddy cop, but they're not really cops. Sam Elliott is this detective, and Peter Weller is the public defender. So they've got this weird dynamic, but some really good stuff. Great fight on a roller coaster. So yeah, I'm going to do a review of this one day. But until then, you guys check it out and let me know what you think about it. As far as two others that I really liked, Willow is one of them. I like the world they created there. Really good movie with Val Kilmer. The TV show Willow, it was all right. I felt like they were trying to push some agenda there that really wasn't for me. And if that's for you, that's cool. But it just didn't resonate with me. But I really enjoyed Willow as a kid. It's one of those, as an adult, it doesn't quite stand up as well. And that's why it didn't make my list. But I still enjoy it a lot. And then my last honorable mention, the great Leslie Nielsen, The Naked Gun. It's looking back, it's funny seeing O.J. Simpson as a cop in this thing. But there are so many great gags. This is a laugh a minute. I'm that rare person. I actually enjoy The Naked Gun 2.5 just a little more than The Naked Gun. But I wanted to actually put this on the list as well. But when I'm running down my top five, it's like I just can't do it. There's just so many other great movies that I couldn't put it in there. But Frank Drebin and his guys are amazing in this movie. And, that's no way for a man to go. Caught in the wheels of a combine. That's how I want to go. Just a fun movie. So that leads me to my number one. And if you know anything about the year 1988 and what movies came out, this should be pretty anticlimactic. It's another one that I have the DVD of, no case, and that is Die Hard with John McClane. Bruce Willis does such a good job in this movie. And people actually get into this argument. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? I actually defended this movie to my pastor of my church, saying Die Hard is a Christmas movie. He's like, the true spirit of Christmas. No, it's not about that. But the fake, superficial version of Christmas, with the presents and stuff. He's just trying to get home to his family. He travels clear from the East Coast to get to his family to, celebrate with them and try to reconnect with his wife. But that part of the story is really good. I like the Nakatomi Plaza, and I like Carl Winslow's character. The bad guys, Hans Gruber, one of my favorite villains ever. I'm going to review this movie. I'm probably saving it to Christmas for you guys. So, if you wanted to see it in the next few months, sorry for that, but it will be out this December at some point. Die Hard is just a fun movie. And now I've got a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. I can't praise this movie enough. A lot of people say Die Hard is one of the, if not the best action movie of the 1980s. and I'm not sure I agree with that, but it is there in the top five. I might do my top five action movies of the 80s. I might have to go top 10 or 15 because there's just so many good ones to pick in there, and I don't know which ones to pull out. So guys, thank you for checking out this video, especially if you stayed all the way to the end. I am going to do 1989, and that's going to be even harder than this list because you've got so many good ones: Batman and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and the Lethal Weapon 2. Yeah, I think there was a James Bond in there. So many good movies. Don't know what's going to happen there. But anyway, if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you down the line.